What's up, guys? Welcome to another video. Today we're going to be talking about how to select single HTML elements and how to manipulate them with JavaScript. And you can do that in multiple different ways. I'll be showing you all of them here in this video, okay? So I have this project. I have a bunch of HTML and CSS here already before my script tags. And this project was from another video project that we did, which was just HTML and CSS. And I did this project from frontendmentor.io, where it's just like making a little link tree. And we're going to go ahead and use this little project example to select some elements and change some stuff. If you're interested in building this with me with HTML and CSS and making it responsive with media queries, I'm going to link that video in the description as well. And I have a ton of other tutorials where we build stuff from scratch. So if you're into that, go ahead and check out those videos as well. All right, so let's get started here. So again, we have our HTML code here, and we want to select elements and manipulate them with JavaScript here. So we'll do that first I'll show you how to do it by getting an element by their ID name. So we'll say get element by ID. And this allows you to select any element in the DOM by its ID name. So first we'll start here. We'll say console.log, and let's say I want to get, let's see what has an ID here. So this H1 of Practical Web Dev has an ID of profile title. So let's select that with JavaScript using the ID name. So let's say console.log document document.getElementById, and we'll paste that in there. So the syntax is document.getElementById, parentheses, and then quotes, and then the ID name. So I just copy and paste it in there. And just a quick tip, guys, when you're doing this in a real project, I recommend always copying and pasting your ID names in here, because if you have a typo, obviously it's not going to select it and then stuff won't work. And I've gone like a long time in some projects not like trying to figure out why something won't get selected, and the whole time it was a typo. So do yourself a favor and always copy and paste, okay? It'll save you a lot of time, I promise, because you're eventually going to make that mistake too. So we console.log that. Let's right click and inspect and go to the console, and there it is. So we did select our profile title. Now that's cool, we selected it, but in real life you're usually going to want to put your elements in variables so that you can use them over and over again really quickly. So let's do that. Let's say we'll make a comment and we'll say put element in a variable so that it is easily accessible. I think that's how you spell accessible. And we'll say const, and I'll name it profile title. That's what we'll name our variable. And then we'll just copy and paste the same code here. Boom. Okay. So now profile title variable holds this information. So now we can use it over and over. And so let's start changing some stuff. Let's say profile title dot, let's say innerText, and let's say we want to say hello world. Oops, I forgot my equal sign. Gotta go equal and no parentheses. Sorry guys, it's been a long day. Made a lot of videos today. So there we go, hello world. So we changed the text by selecting the element with the ID, so that's pretty cool. We can also do profile title, and we can use some styling. So we can say style background color equals, well, and let's make it yellow. Make it really annoying. Oh, it's so bright. Actually, I take that back. Let's make it green. It's like hurting my eyes. There we go. So that's how you use styles with JavaScript, guys. And then just notice how with CSS you would say background hyphen color, but we don't use hyphens in JavaScript. So if it's the second letter of a word, you go ahead and capitalize it. Okay. And then we can also say, we could use other stuff. We could say like profile title dot style dot padding equals 10 pixels. Whoops, pixels. And there we go. Now it's got some padding on it. All right. So that's how you can select stuff with document.getElementById, and that's just a couple of examples of how you can use JavaScript to change it and manipulate it by its ID name. The next one I'm going to show you is querySelector, and that's a more modern way of doing it. querySelector came out in the big JavaScript update in like 2015 or 2016, and it allows us to select elements by not just ID name, because back in the day, pretty much all you could use was ID. If you were using vanilla JavaScript, if you wanted to select something, you had to use an ID name, and there was really no other way to do it without using jQuery. But then querySelector came on and it allows us to use multiple different ways. So we can say, we can select an element by HTML tag name using querySelector. Okay, so let's do that. Let's say that I want to target this H4. We only have one H4 on the page, and it's the location. And we'll do that with querySelector. So let's say const heading 4. Make our variable really descriptive. We'll say document.querySelector. And it's the same thing. We'll do our parentheses and our quotes. And all we have to do, guys, is put H4 in here. And we'll select it. So let's test that out. Let's say console.log heading 4, and boom, there it is. Okay. So now we can do kind of like some of the same stuff. We can say heading 4 dot innerText equals, and let's change it to, let's say London, England. Okay, so now that changed our location. And then same thing, we can say heading 4 dot style dot color equals, say, red. Okay, so that's really cool. Again, guys, you might not realize it, but this was a huge breakthrough back in the day. Made life way easier. Let's do select stuff by class name. So we'll say select element by class name using querySelector. So let's say we want to select and change this text up here using the class name that's on it. So as you can see, this paragraph has the class of tagline. It's like a little tagline. So let's manipulate that. So let's say const tagline equals document.querySelector. And then since this is a class, guys, like with CSS, we have to put the dot and then the class name, tagline. Okay. And again, console.log and log it out. And there we go. We got our P tagline. Okay. So it is selected. And now we can say tagline.style.color equals orange. Oops, forgot our quotes. Okay. And now we're changing the tagline. Okay. So again, we can just copy this down. Say background color, and we'll say purple. All right, and then we can copy that down again. Let's give it some padding. And you're not, it's not too often that you're going to be like styling a bunch of stuff with JavaScript. You will do it sometimes, but this is just to show you guys examples, guys. Obviously, you can put, you'll be doing stuff like putting event listeners on stuff, and then maybe when you click it, you want to change the color, something like that. That's where this would come in handy. We could also do this. Let's see, tagline.innerHTML equals, and we could say strong and we could say hello strong, put in some strong tags. So now we actually changed the HTML itself by using innerHTML and using strong tags, and we made it bold, and we just changed the text to hello. So again, that's just something else you can do. We're just messing around here. The last thing is using the ID again. So let's say select element by ID name using query selector. I'll put that and that and this. Okay. So what do we have here? We'll select an ID. This last link here of Instagram has an ID of InstaLink. So let's select that. So let's actually copy that. Okay. So let's say const InstaLink equals document.querySelector. And now since it's ID, we got to use the number sign or hashtag, just like when we selected in CSS, and then InstaLink. And let's console.log InstaLink to make sure we have it. And we do. See there? All right. And now let's say InstaLink.style.backgroundColor equals, I want it to be purple. And then we'll say InstaLink.style.color equals yellow. Okay, so there we go. Now we're changing the Instagram link color using querySelector. Again, just make sure that you put your signs in here if you're going to use an ID or a class instead of a tag name. Make sure you put your dot for classes and your hashtag or number symbol for IDs, just like CSS. So that's really it, guys. That's how you can select stuff using querySelector and ID name. It's really personal preference on what you want to use. To be honest, a lot of times I still use ID quite a bit, just because it what works. It doesn't really matter. If you want to get like super technical about it, getting stuff by ID programmatically will make your app a little bit faster than using querySelector, but we're talking like milliseconds. Doesn't really matter. But yeah, so go ahead. You'll develop your own coding style. Like I said, I still like to use ID a lot just because it's an old habit, but you can use whatever you want, guys. All right. So thank you so much for watching this video, and I will see you in the next one.